Since Arc Raiders launched a couple weeks ago, it's all I can think about and the only thing I want to play. I've dumped almost 200 hours into this game already, and that's time that I don't have, but I can't pull myself away. It's a game where you'll experience the highest highs and the lowest lows. A game of camaraderie and betrayal, but maybe, most importantly, a game where you see the human condition on full display. Even just in the past week, as of recording, a full-scale streamer war has broken out, complete with a meta-narrative developing outside the game. Allegiances are being made and territories drawn.
The time for talk is over! Now is the time for action!
The early days of Arc Raiders have been nothing short of a once-in-a-generation event. So let's talk about why this game has me so hooked, how it's evolving, and why, if you're one of the few people that hasn't already jumped in, now is the time.
Okay, so we are right under the cultural archives. We just go up there, that's a red loot zone. We got a red loot zone. Let's clear it out, boys.
All right. Oh my god.
I've tried to get into the extraction shooter genre a couple of times. For the uninitiated, extraction shooters are basically raid-based survival shooters. You drop into a handful of maps to complete missions, collect loot, and try, emphasis on try, to survive against NPCs and other players until you get to an extraction point. If you die before extracting in a given round, you lose everything you're carrying for good. That risk-reward of how much you take into a raid and how cautiously you play is what really makes this genre special. It leads to some of the most intense moments you will find in gaming, and unique encounters that even the best game designers could never dream up. Escape from Tarkov has been the big dog on the scene going back to 2016. It's an immensely complex and brutal game with a notoriously hostile player base. Even trying to explain all the systems that work in Tarkov feels like a fool's errand. It's the Microsoft Flight Simulator of shooters. I always desperately wanted to get into Tarkov, but the investment required to learn all of its mechanics was just way too much for me. I obviously don't think complexity is a bad thing. To be fair, that's the selling point for the game and a big part of what makes it so intense. But as someone with a busy career, a family to care for, a YouTube channel to support, all while going back to school in my 30s, it was a value trade-off I had to make, and I know a lot of other players have made that choice too. Prior to launch, a lot of people called Arc Raiders an extraction shooter for people with jobs. And sure, that might be true, but I don't think it quite does the game justice. In contrast to Tarkov, Arc Raiders is a far more simplified experience. Well, I say simplified, but maybe focused is a better word. Focused on the elements that really make this genre unique. It plays a lot like any other third-person shooter. Nice movement, really satisfying weapons, and a surprisingly interesting world to explore. You get a lot of the trappings people expect from the extraction genre, like loadout customization, but it feels like just enough to keep things interesting. Of course, as you get deeper into the experience, you can really start to dial in your specific playstyle, but those elements are no longer a barrier to just getting in the game and having a good time. From your first raid, if you have any experience with games at all, you'll get your bearings pretty quick, which already makes this a much more accessible entry point to the genre for a broad audience. The robotic enemies you face on raids hit very, very hard. If you're not careful, you can easily be taken out by even the smallest of the lot, but piss off one of the bigger fellas and you're cooked if you don't come prepared. Those enemies, however, are not what you really need to be afraid of. No, the robotic enemies, while they appear to be smart, you can learn how they work and adapt to fight them. Players, on the other hand, are a very different story. To make a long story short, this game is going to give you trust issues.
What set is that in the store? It was pretty sick.
Thanks, man. It would have been really sick if your friend hadn't shot me.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair response.
In the interest of simplifying, and so this video doesn't go on in circles, I'm going to try to divide the kinds of players you will encounter into 3 categories. The first category I'll call the friendlies. These are often solo players or chill trios, and honestly, they are the lifeblood of what makes this game so special. These guys will lead to some of the most laugh-out-loud hilarious moments I've ever experienced in any kind of multiplayer video game. I've been in raids where we've coordinated entire lobbies. They'll help you with quests, they'll pick you up when you're downed, and they will exact revenge on any rats killing other players. On one raid, we coordinated like 10 solo players, and when 2 of our comrades got downed, we took turns healing them all the way to an exit point together. I could not stop laughing for a good 5 minutes after that round.
Thank you. Stir it up, stir it up. Get in, everybody, get in.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
The second category are the PvPers. These are really your standard players. They can be a little unpredictable, but in general, they want a fair fight. A lot of them stick to trios. Very often, if you declare that you are just there for a quest or yell, "Don't shoot," they'll leave you alone. If it's not an exciting shootout, it's not interesting to them. Some of them will just straight up ask you if you're there for PvP. If you best them in combat, some of them will even congratulate you.
Got it, man.
Then there is the third category, the rats. People that camp exits in solos, say they're friendly and then shoot you in the face when you let your guard down, or shoot you just to ruin your day. A lot of times they don't even want your loot. Rats and arc raiders are a special breed. From some unscientific research, I think they are statistically more likely to be console players, and cards on the table, I think that there is something legitimately wrong with a lot of them in real life. They seem like they are probably just all-around unlikable human beings, in-game and out. I say this because it takes a specific kind of person to yell and shoot at someone with a free loadout while they beg for their life in frustration, only to knock them out and run away. It doesn't take any skill to camp an exit or shoot somebody after telling them that you're friendly. That doesn't make you good at PvP. It makes you a dork and a coward.
No, no, no. I see you. Bro, you little camper?
The thing is, I think all three of these categories are essential to the landscape of arc raiders, and the design of the game is what allows it to happen. The reality is that unlike Tarkov, for example, dying and losing everything will frustrate you, but it's not completely devastating. Through quests or free loadout runs, you can easily bounce back from a bad raid. Because of that, I felt more at ease about getting experimental. Like, I knew it wouldn't be the end of the world if I cut an extract really close, or trying to make peace with a player who is pointing their gun directly at me. It's what keeps this game so endlessly entertaining and tense. Rolling up in a squad, everyone guns drawn, and negotiating a ceasefire with actual human beings is something that is impossible to explain unless you've done it yourself. Every single round is filled with these cinematic and hilarious moments that I've really not seen in any other game, at least not to this degree. It's been fascinating to see all of this evolve over the past few weeks, and it feels like we're all playing some kind of social experiment. To give you some context, the first couple days servers went live, seemingly everyone was chill, trying to just help each other out and solve the mysteries of the game. As time progressed, you saw more people starting to dabble in PvP, mostly to bulk up their loot stash, but it seemed like a happy medium. It created some nice tension, but still allowed players to group up for some of the bigger objectives. As people started rolling with more valuable gear, they also started to become a little more jumpy and trigger happy. Roll up on the wrong person with a piece of gear they really can't let go of, and they will blast you just so you don't get them first. This started creating some trust issues in a lot of the player base, and it really kicked off the villain arc for a lot of players. People that just got so sick of being taken out after pleading for their lives that they turned to the dark side, going on raids with free loadouts just to take out everyone in sight, hoping to rebuild. At the top of the hierarchy now, you have the highly geared players that have mostly finished all the quests and are just going on raids to finish some upgrades. On one side, you have these heroes that will go in and help other players run defense or find quest locations for them. On the other side, you have the highly geared rats. They don't need your stuff, they just don't want you to have it. It really does feel like a reflection of humanity is playing out on these servers. When you have nothing to lose, and desperation takes over. When you have everything, you can either help the community or burn it to the ground. This has also now evolved into a faction war between a handful of streamers and their audiences. Game of Thrones style drama playing out in-game and out, with players showing their allegiances through in-game skins. Some players feel like this kind of stuff is ruining the core spirit of the game, but personally, I think it's fascinating to look at the emerging gameplay that's feeding this ongoing human narrative playing out in real time. But I want to hear your stories. If you're already playing Arc Raiders, I want you to tell me about your funniest encounters down in the comments. Seriously, write me a book. I love reading about all the funny, insane stuff that people have been encountering in this game. And if you haven't played it already, why? What are you doing? Play this game. As always, thanks so much for being here. If you enjoy content like this and want to see more, maybe consider subscribing or dropping a like on the video. It really does help this channel a ton. Thanks again, and I'll see you topside, Raiders.